It's still Breakfast Daily, and right now we're going to be talking about self-discipline. Self-discipline towards personal development. I'm sure sometimes you already have an idea of what you would want to do or what you would want to see yourself do in the nearest future. But then again, that time comes and you don't do anything about it, and then you realize that you're actually lacking some self-discipline. So today we're going to be talking about self-discipline towards your personal development, and to do that with us is Mrs. Hannah Abrahams Apia, who is a pastor and author, teens and youth educator. You are welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about self-discipline towards personal development. I've actually had sometimes struggling with being self-disciplined. So I'm not going to take myself out of this issue because I know that, yes, sometimes I have to hold myself accountable. So how do we start with, self-discipline?
Okay, thank you. When we start talking about self-discipline, first and foremost, I want us to look at it from the point of personal development first, in the sense that what's personal development? Why do we want to develop in different areas of our life? And when you look at that, it helps you set a goal. And that is what enables self-discipline to come into bear. Many people are not able to execute self-discipline because, one, they don't have any goal in life concerning the areas of their life they need development. So basically, when we talk of self-development, we are looking at the 5 broad areas that we know of: the emotional area of our life, so the way you feel things; the physical area, your health, your wellness. We are talking about your spiritual life. We are talking about your social life, your ability to communicate, your presence. And then we are also talking about your mental life, the things you learn and the way you think. We have people who have extrapolated it to your wealth life, financial life, which is so important. And then your community, where you work, and then to the environment. So you could have either the 5 or the 8 personal development areas. Now, one thing you need to do is you must be aware, what do you want? In which of these areas are you lacking? And which of these areas do you want to see improvement? Because there are stages. There's the first stage of discovery that, oh, I have a problem in my cognitive area, the way I think, the way I learn. And so I want to be able to achieve this and this and this. So that's a clear goal. So there's a discovery, then there's the development, then there's the mastery to get to self-actualization.
So that's discovery, development, and
mastery to get to self-actualization. That's the maximum potential and capacity.
So they're all steps, processes to go through.
Processes. So once this is clear in your self-development process, then self-discipline comes in, because to be able to get to the next step at each point, you must be able to control and direct yourself to do what you must do without anybody forcing you to do it. And especially if you don't even want to do it. And that's where the self-discipline comes in, because many times there's the pain and pleasure component. There's the pain of waking up early, setting goals, achieving them. And then there's the pleasure of the results of fulfillment, achievements, which will make you wealthier, which will make you healthier, look good, and then the sense of, well, I've been able to achieve my dreams. But people are not able to put the pain and pleasure components in the right perspective. So many people sometimes put pleasure ahead of pain. And whichever one you put first, you will still suffer. So it's either pain comes first and pleasure, or pleasure comes first and then you still get the pain. It's still there.
I think that's the worst, if the pain comes in.
So what are the things you should do to keep yourself disciplined? First and foremost, have a clear goal. Identify the goal, and then have a plan to be able to execute the goals. Many people don't have plans for their goals. They have big dreams. I want to write a book. I want to travel. I want to have a 6-figure salary in dollars. But they wouldn't learn. You know why we go to school? We actually pay people to discipline us. That's all.
Right, true.
Because if you can self-discipline yourself, you don't actually need to go to a structured institution. You can sit at home online and learn. So many people actually are paying school fees. It's a form of just discipline, so that you systematically go through the learning structure and then you come out.
Okay. So when it comes to procrastination, I mean, sometimes you can do you are laughing. You're laughing at me because I'm sure you've heard it so many times. I mean, sometimes you can discover yourself. You can start putting down things on paper and say, okay, I'm going to do this. You have all your plans to that goal that you have set. But now, time to execute. We see ourselves procrastinating. How can we deal with that? Because a lot of people deal with procrastination. It's not that they won't do it. They might do it, but maybe later on. Much later on. So how can we deal with, procrastination?
Right. There's also a time lapse for everything in life. So many times people want to deal with things later on, and later never comes. Actually, you've heard the adage, tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow never comes.
So there are people who never get their tomorrows, and the achievements you can get today far outweighs what you could have gotten tomorrow. If a teenager writes a book, she's more of a star than if a late adolescent or a late adult person writes the same book, the same content. So what can we do? In self-discipline, there are 5 steps that if you follow, it makes a big difference. The first one is acceptance. Accept that there's a challenge in area A, B, C. So clearly, in area of my emotional life, or in the area of my social life, communication skills, I am not doing well. So you accept it. The next thing is develop the willpower, and that's where the problem is at the mental stage. Ability to harness your thoughts and decide, focus, concentrate that I am going to focus on speaking well, being nice to people, responding politely, knowing the art of communication. So that willpower is key. Then the next thing is hard work. Because if I want to speak well, somebody upsets me in the office. Remember, it's my goal that in the next 3 months, I'm going to be emotionally calm. So somebody upsets you. Instead of being reactive, you are going to be proactive. You maintain your cool, you answer calmly, wisely, and you realize you are improving. The next thing you do is you must be industrious, the ability to concentrate and focus on the task. Many people are not able to do that. And then be persistent. If you follow the acronym AWHIP, it's a whip. So like a whip. So literally, self-discipline is whipping yourself in line. So long as you remember the 5 steps, you are whipping yourself to be in line. Because self-discipline is actually from the root word disciplina, disciple, discipline. So you either have self-discipline or forced discipline in life. It's either ways. If you don't discipline yourself, life will discipline you. One way or the other. Either by not giving you the opportunities and benefits you want, or you're going to face the consequences of an unrestrained life. People who are not restrained, you sleep and wake up anytime, you'll be poor. You don't learn when you should.
You'll be poor. I like that.
You don't learn when you should. You will fail. And then when you are not self-disciplined and you are forced discipline, that's what they call punishment. So in school, the students who go through punishment are those who are actually being forced to be disciplined. So our parentage is all about disciplining. They are guiding us. School is all about discipline. But at a certain stage of our life for personal development, the onus now lies on us to do the right thing and guide ourselves systematically to achieve the goals for the benefits of discipline.
Okay, you named 5 points that we need, like people want to develop in their life, like the spiritual, like the physical, and all that. Do they have to go hand in hand for you to fully say that, okay, or for you to say this person is actually self-disciplined, or this person has reached the stage of mastering all that together? Do they have to go hand in hand, or maybe you can fail in one, or not fail person?
I know. Everybody's priority determines what they work on. Ideally, before you reach the stage of self-actualization, all of them would find a place because they play into each other. Have you noticed when you don't have money, you can be a little upset and very moody? And have you also noticed that when physically you are not too well, it plays also in your emotional and mental state. You are stressed. So when you are able to harness these 5 areas, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social areas together, you do well. But it is important to take them in small bites. Don't attempt to do everything at once, else you get overwhelmed with trying to solve all the problems and then you give up. But when you take one area which is critical and urgent, then you start working on it, then you improve on the next area systematically, you realize that gradually you will be excited about your progress. So attempting something else becomes more exciting. So let's say I want to work on my emotions. So I'm working on my feelings, I'm working on my responses, my temperament, whether I'm angry, whether I'm smiling. And then I realize I'm doing well. Then I said, let me challenge myself to my intellect. Let me learn. What new book am I reading?
Yeah, let me read a book a month.
A book a
well,
month.
That's
a
what
book
I do.
A week.
I try to read a book a month.
That's wonderful. And I would want to challenge people further. Once you read, write. One of the greatest self-development aspects is writing. People can read. It's easy to read. It's not too easy for others. But writing is difficult because putting down your thoughts systematically and putting them out into a book or a document that can be, what do you call it, fallen back on by others, becomes very difficult. But that's a legacy. And that's also an art of development which will improve your cognitive skills. It will force you to pay attention to your language, diction, words, spelling, and all these learning skills have a way of helping you develop. You are more confident, and then you realize that you are doing so well.
Right. Okay, so is it ever too late to start being disciplined, to start wanting to have, you know, a good life or wanting to do things right? Is it ever too late? Because you said something earlier. You said when a kid writes a book, like, she's a star. When an older person writes a book, okay, yeah, she just wrote a book, yeah. So is it ever too late to say, okay, I really want to start this journey of self-discipline?
Well, there's no age limit to starting self-discipline. And the only people we call late are those that have passed on. So the late XYZ, I can call my dad the late Miss Pastor Amati Ama. He's passed on. Other than that, you are not late. So long as you have life, identify an area where you still need improvement and then begin to work on it, no matter how small. You could read a chapter a day, you could write a page a day, you could start by journaling, you could do an article, you could draw. Some people love drawing. Anything you love doing, your dreams, your aspirations, your gifting. Some can sing. We just listened to somebody singing. Some have wonderful compositions, but nobody has heard about them. Put them out there for people to hear. Some people have beautiful stories. I do a lot of writing. I've written quite a number of books. Every year I challenge myself to come up with at least 2 books. So every year, I think for the past 4 years, I'm on my 6th title. I just launched 1 book last week.
Wow, so, congratulations.
Thank you. So you realize that it is a challenge I have given to myself, and that keeps me awake. It keeps me searching for information, and it keeps me challenging myself. So it is never late at any age. I know a man who retired at 60. He's 92. He's still alive. He's lived longer after work than even the years he spent in work. So it's never late to start anything. Even fitness. I saw an 80-year-old woman who looked so strong because she decided to engage in body health fitness. So whichever area of these 5 areas I mentioned, or the 8, it could be wellness, financial growth. You don't like your financial income. What have you done about it?
Exactly.
What are the things? I teach 3 things: skills, products, or services that you are offering to the world to make sure that it will generate income for you. People never have any of these 3, yet they want to do well. And once you identify the area and you set the goal, now whip yourself in line. By the time you do that, you are self-disciplined and the results will be outstanding.
Okay, I actually have to whip myself in line because I have plans that I have written down that I want to actually tackle and then reach a certain goal. But yes, that's why I asked a procrastination question, because you know, people like me are there. Anyway, thank you so much. But before I let you go, where can people actually find you? How can they reach you?
How can they reach me? My name is Hannah Abraham Sapia. So on all the social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can find me, Hannah Abraham Sapia. You can also get me on my website, teasbooks.com. You can send me an email or a WhatsApp and then you can reach me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you
It
so
was
much.
really insightful and educational, and I hope people actually put this into practice, because I am going to put it into practice. I really loved it.
Myself
I really enjoyed
too.
it. Thank you. And that was some tips on self development, and I'm sure all of us really enjoyed this segment.